Initialize. Okay. All right. We are live. So, welcome back to another video. We are, after yesterday's live stream, we decided that we wanted to get back into Arc of War. To some degree. We're not sure how far we're going to go. But if you are a player that quit or, if you're a player that quit, that's really how simple this is. What is it like getting back into Arc of War now? Because just for reference, if you haven't logged in, there's a new thing called Casitan, where once every 3 months for a month, and I'm going to fix these dates later, you get to go into a special event, and it's a new server that's mixed with, I think, 7 other servers. Is that right?
It is 8 servers. In some cases, it could be 6, it could be 7.
Okay, and on that note, I realized the best way to do it is to ask an expert, right? Why try to figure out everything from the beginning when there's already people who have it solved, which is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I brought in an expert. I have ARP from the EXE Guild here to help me out. Please say hello, and I messed up your intro.
Hello, this is ARP from EXE. I've gone by ARP or RP. I've been across a couple guilds now, but shout out to EXE and our very good opponents first on this Casitan. We've been really fun opponents to fight so far.
So before we get into like Casitan and all the quests and gems and commanders, if you're coming back to Arc of War, so this is my thought process, right? Like I didn't want to, and what's up, chat? London Fog's here, and we're just rolling this thing out. And the idea is that if someone's coming back to Arc of War, like I did yesterday, and I started looking at the game, it is extremely overwhelming. Everything I used to know probably has some relevance, right? Gilly and Stella are probably still good. I'm an infantry main, but there's so much else. Like, do I even want to focus on PvP? Not really. Like, I want to focus on figuring out what this game is now, because when I left, really, Rogers, Elf, and Stella were kind of running the meta, and there was no good Stella tank build. There was a Stella tank build. So infantry didn't have a tank build. They just had like a damage build. Airships had Reinhardt, which was kind of an offense tank build, and then they had the Rogers build, which kind of got wrecked by Full Metal. So then Elf with the Full Metal augment became like the in-game meta. So I'm mostly interested in figuring out where the heck the game is at right now, because there's so much going on. Like the lineups, like how do you even play Arc of War anymore? Like it used to be a game where you were server side, you would fight for tiles, fight for capitals, but really at the end of the game at 100 million power or more, it was so expensive to play the game, a lot of people just stopped playing. Or they would do Galactic Battle, go back to their servers, shield for a week, do Galactic Battle, go back to their servers, shield for a week. And I kind of fell into that rut, and a lot of players fell into that rut. But then if you got into the theory crafting, right, like you could make a whole new game of it. And that was always my favorite part, collecting the replays, seeing how people would break it. So let me start. I was going to say, I was trying to tell ARP, kind of prepping for what I want to do here, is that first question I have for you, Dragon Slayer. All right, so Dragon Slayer was always like who you'd use to destroy somebody that put low tier troops. You just blow the whole army up because of Shockwave. Is that still a thing?
It's still a thing,
yes,
but it's not only specific to Dragon Slayer at this point. There's other comms that can make use of skills that can have similar effects. There's a walker there's a walker skill or plugin that's used that can do something similar. There's a new research that is like talent skills that one of them operates very similar to Dragon Slayer's main skill, in that you hit one set of troops and then it puts that damage to the surrounding troops.
Okay, what commander is that?
So that's not a commander. That is a specific research. I can share my screen probably to show you that.
Ah, so everyone looking for a replay, we will try to get replays as time goes on. This is day 1, hour 1. Let's get caught up. Life in the fast lane crash course. And here's ARP's screen. We can actually see his phone.
the biggest new change would be between the new jewels that are available, more specifically, one of them, and this new research tree. So, of course, you have a new reagent that goes along with that, and it's given.
Oh,
Now,
I don't see your we don't see your screen, by the way.
okay. Let me try that one more time. It says I'm sharing. I'll stop sharing and try that one more time.
There we go.
And it sounds like it just canceled it again.
Looks like it's trying to initialize.
All right.
So Corn just said, gonna relearn at the same time as Melt the game. Time to come back. I don't know if I want to encourage anyone to come back to Arc of War. This is strictly just to see if it's possible. And
one thing I always joke about is true friends don't convince their friends to come back to Arc of War.
That's what Badger was doing in Discord. He was like, "Don't go back. What are you doing? Don't go back." It's like, I'm like, I don't know, man. It seems kind of cool. There's a lot of new stuff.
One thing that you'll often find is people who do quit this game, they'll find another game that'll just take their money too. So it is a trade-off. Hopefully, it is a less expensive game, of course.
So I am. It's so funny. This was working.
Yeah, it's buffering.
It was working like
I'll
right before.
try canceling it one more time here.
Okay, so when we talk about, as you do that, when we talk about skills, the fourth skill, right? Remember they added that fourth skill, and you were able to like bring in commanders' tokens to get their skill and upgrade it. I mean, obviously that's still a huge part of the meta, right? That fourth skill is game changing. Oh.
It is, and so one of the new gems affects that how much change that has on the current meta.
There we go. We're good. So this is Research Lab
Sweet,
22.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
And so that jewel that was probably mentioned in the previous live stream, Keynes, it only for the first round, it works very similar to preemptive, which is often what you'll see it paired with, is you'll see preemptive paired with Keynes, and it makes it so all jewel skills are canceled from preemptive, and your plugin skills, you lose your plugin skills for the first round with Keynes. So that combo is pretty deadly against any comms that don't have any guaranteed hits, and it's also pretty deadly to builds that are reliant on those plugin skills. Infantry, very much like Wings.
Yeah.
DS, very much liked best offense, and now she doesn't have that for a round.
Okay. You say DS, you mean Dragon Slayer. Best offense is Black skill.
Yes.
So she turns her defense into damage, and airships have naturally really high defense.
Yes, and so a new pseudo Dragon Slayer has been created with this new talent tree, or Research Lab 22. You can see I have one currently upgrading. You have your normal.
Your screen's not moving. All I see is just a screen. It's stuck. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't moved it yet. So you have your normal enhancements here that increase base stats of defense and base stats of HP, and the Walker Nemesis and Airship Nemesis. These are quite important to have on. I'll show you how these apply in a second here. But this one increases damage dealt to a specific troop type, so
really?
Soon to be 24%.
Wow.
And so Walker is against infantry, and then of course Walker Nemesis is against Walker from airships.
That's weird. That's weird that they make them stronger against their natural strong opponent, right? It's like Walker's already strong against infantry. They're making it even stronger.
Yeah, it's a win more skill, more so than it's supposed to help you against battles that you shouldn't be winning. The second set of skills, however, is definitely more lucrative, and it's more expensive to go along with it. You have, and this is where the skills will vary between the different troop types. So I have, of course, an infantry. You have the first one that has vulnerability detection. I could show what that looks like. Attack inflicts vulnerable on the enemy, causing them to take 4% more damage for 1 round.
Yeah, we lost you.
It's oh, did you lose the
Oh,
screen
there we
or
go.
my
There we
voice?
go. We're good.
Okay. You have precise strike. That's an interesting skill that actually works with vulnerability detection, and it just makes it so you ignore more damage reduction, and you'll do more damage if it's paired with vulnerability detection. Power
Okay.
of infantries. This is the main supplement to not having wings if your plugins are shut down.
All right. 1 additional attack. Okay. All right. All right. And Reggie, I hear you, bro. I thought about bringing you on the stream, but I knew RP was around, and I wanted to grab him. I need as many experts as I can to fast track me. So let me get some context here, because I'm a big picture guy, right? Like, I want to see the whole thing, and then I just like zooming in and then finding all the weird broken things. Like, that was my thing about this channel that I love the most, when we find something new. And I actually had a few pioneer breakthroughs myself. Like, Bullets Ghost Cannon was my thing. But like, I didn't get credit for all the stuff. A lot of the stuff that was discovered and found, ways to break the game for the low spenders or the mid spenders or the free to player, the way we could break the game is what made it interesting. And I don't even know if that's a play style now. But with Casitan, that seems like it's a whole new game. And before I get to all the minutia, is that the way to say it? I want to know. So I see that, okay, now there's 4 skills can be messed with, and then there's augments to make up for it. And then there's advanced research to make it more potent. But what is the end of the game now? Is the end of the game still galactic battle? Is everyone still trying? I mean, not everyone, but is it still just like the big bosses loading up their big commanders with big armies sitting in capitals? Are we still doing that?
Yes, and you'll see that, of course, in galactic battle, where you'll see big comms go in, but there's not as many builds that are considered dominant to where they're able to tank through 5, 2, 3, 4 hits in a row. AIs were very important for tank builds, but with some of these new damage builds that are now available with new research, new jewels, it makes it so these new damage builds coming out will win against these massive tanks that used to be able to be the ones that held in a capital for a while. Rogers,
Right.
when he was in peak meta, it would take a couple hits to defeat him.
So
right now, Orochi and Reinhardt are still very much in the meta.
okay, so that's the thing. Orochi and Reinhardt. Like, I remember Reinhardt for just his Thorns build, right? Wasn't it Reinhardt with the Thorns build? Let me think about that.
Yes, with the Thorns build. And now there's a new jewel that helps Reinhardt be a little bit more competitive. You'll see Reinhardt with Keynes to maybe take away best offenses from DS and so on.
Okay, wait, hold on. When you say Keynes, is that the gym?
Yes, that Keynes Vinatai, or however it's called.
So this is a big thing. For all you players out there that are coming back, there's a new gym, and it's called Keynes Venatici. It's Italian. I'm guessing here. I'm gonna undo all the filters. Apparently you can filter gyms out now. Let's see what that does. Okay. And that didn't work.
If you just go into the handbook and page down,
okay,
that'll be easier.
All right, so here we go.
The filtering is for when you're applying jewels, which is definitely helpful.
So Keynes is infantry, right? It says infantry attack, infantry accuracy, infantry crit. This is an infantry.
Supposed to be.
All right. But everyone's using it.
And everyone's able to. You'll see what the 3 new jewels. Walker has a Walker-specific skill that only Walkers can use. Airship, same thing. But infantry, for some reason, drew the short end, or the short stick in the bucket there. So.
Everyone gets to use the infantry's gems, but the infantry gem was just broken, basically. And they were like, well, we'll let everyone else use it instead of giving infantry another one. But the Walkers and airships do get another gem, and it's not broken. That's their cut.
Well, so that's where I think many would disagree in that infantry had that new this new Keynes Venatici is powerful, but in the new research tree, there's that power. It's called power. You have power of entry. You have power of Walker, which power of Walker uh, makes them. It's similar to Cassiopeia, where they're unable to be debuffed in that way. So Keynes is useless against Walker with that power of Walker's skill. So Walker, you get your rock, paper, scissors, airship, infantry, Walker. In that infantry wouldn't benefit using that skill against Walker, but it benefits against airships.
Mm-hmm.
But against tank air, it doesn't mean anything because passive skills aren't affected by it. So that means your absolute defense, your preemptive, those skills are unaffected. So, but being that it is available to all, you do see it on many builds. Of course, many airship builds use it against other airships, and against infantry, it is pretty devastating since no plug-in skills, and also which means no wings,
Right.
and no dual skills.
Right.
With,
So that's
if we have preemptive on.
so that's weird. Keynes undoes what made really infantry balanced by giving. Well, I don't even want to go that propaganda, but right. So you're taking away the fourth skill plugin, which really balanced the game out and brought a lot to it. Okay, but you said Keynes is really expensive, or who said Keynes is expensive? Bloody expensive. Ryzel's saying
It is. Ever since, of course, that was figured out that Keynes is very good for these builds, especially for black. It has increased in value, especially with the arrival of Casitan and black being
Thank you, Reggie.
pretty much the king of Casitan.
So how do you get the gem?
It's in guild mobilization, and it is 63,000 points, or give or take. It's become the most expensive thing in there, of course.
63,000 bid to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to get as many points as possible, and then you got to hope you're the top 10 who gets it, or top 100.
Yeah, it's you're talking spending 400,000 gold.
Okay.
Likely.
So Keynes is basically off limits to anyone that's not willing to drop $1,000 a month. At the moment.
I would say so. There's packs that give gold. You could get it for cheaper than that, but yes, it is very expensive, and you're fighting with many other players to get it. So
Badger.
It's not something I have personally done yet.
The Badger was just telling me not to do this. Don't go back. And he jumps in the chat to call us noobs.
Yeah, I see. Get good.
Okay, so Keynes. So so Keynes is hard to get right now. Fine. Everything was hard to get at one point. It'll be easy to get in 6 months. Easier to get. Everything scales. All right, so it's out of reach now, but we still want to know what it does. So, all right, so if I'm looking at a galactic battle or a capital fight, and I'm looking at the commanders in the pocket, right? Black, which I love Black, but he was a penetration commander, right? He got a ton of damage off of his defense bonuses, but then he couldn't do any damage because everyone had so much defense. But if he had penetration, then he broke through it. Is that what we were doing?
So yes, and there's different changes to that now. There's a piece of gear. Maybe it wasn't available when you quit, but it's called the formal hole, and it takes the place of the tangling, and it makes it so 10% of your damage ignores damage reduction.
Okay, that's right, damage reduction, duh. Okay.
And that helped Black a lot.
What was it called?
The piece of gear is called formal hole. You'll find it in the forged ship.
There it is.
And it'll be in the handbook.
True damage. Okay. Just penetration and crit. Now, are we using crit with her? Is a tank builds, right? Reinhardt, Rogers, Elf. Is Elf still in the meta?
Yeah. She is, but she won't want to come against Black. It'll be more in use against, Reinhardt and Orochi. That those kind of battles that's where AIs your AI level is very important. And Elf is still good in those battles, and that still stalemate Orochi, and at the end of the battle, it's whoever has the most troops, and that she is still good in that capacity. In PvP, people aren't using those T12 Orochis or T12 Reinhardts.
Say that again. In PvP, players are not using T12 Orochi and Reinhardt? They're not?
No, it's still everything in PvP is reduced to T2. Fighting with T2 is a whole lot cheaper, and it's effective. Sister Wolf was mentioned in the previous stream as being very meta, and it's because of this. She is the hard counter to both Orochi and Reinhardt, depending on what plugin skill she has equipped.
Okay, and her gimmick is what? She's a penetrating hard hitter?
She ramps up damage, so you pair it with tier suppression against these T2, and you have steam cannon against Reinhardt, which removes his thorn skill. And the battle keeps going on, and her second skill will continue to ramp up your damage, and eventually you'll just bust through the slots and win the battle. That's what happens.
She's using high tier and tier suppression?
Usually T11 infantry is popular. T12 walker is also used.
T11 infantry is so good, man. I agreed. Best troop ever. Okay. So she's running high tier with tier suppression.
Small amount of troops. 10 troops per slot.
Low risk. Blasting huge armies down. Okay. So she's kind of the Smurf crusher.
Yes.
I don't know if that's the right term.
She also counters Orochi, and she'll use, rather than steam cannon, she actually uses Orochi's own skill, corrosive armor. And that one specifically, you'd have to use T10 air or T11 walker. And a couple troops per slot, counters.
Okay, why?
So that's most.
So I get she would use tier 11 infantry because it has a walker subclass, and she needs walker, and tier 11 infantry hits really hard, troop for troop. But why wouldn't she use is tier 13 a thing, or is it just tier 12 revisited?
So tier 12, I'd say I'd call it pseudo T13.
T12.
After, with T12, they're still called tier 12, and there's not a tier suppression advantage with using the new tier troops.
Gotcha.
They just extended the tree. There hasn't been any further research past hyperspace research to unlock troops, at least. And we have heal troops, we have accuracy troops, and we have crit damage troops. And they actually evolved from those previous T12 troops. So you would call them T13, but they're still called T12.
This is why Arc of War needs to get behind this channel and just let me show the people, right? I'm taking your word for it that tier suppression doesn't have an extra level. Because remember, you used to be able to calculate tier suppression based off the different types of troops. Now, was it 10% per tier? I forget what it was.
Yeah. And the major factor that would be changing something at this point would be that dodge factor. I forget if you're one tier above them, you have I think a guaranteed 60% chance to hit them.
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't call it guaranteed, but it's a 60% chance no matter what, just regardless of their dodge, to hit them. If they didn't have enough dodge, you just hit them. 2 tiers below, you guaranteed to hit them.
So ridiculous Badger saying 7 pirates afraid to add another tier because of the natural tier advantage. It would turn so many accounts. I mean, you're not wrong. That honestly, Badger, I think that's probably their main objective, to not adding another tier, because it would make a lot of tier 2 obsolete. And I think a lot of players like tier 2 because and then ARP, and this has been great. Thank you so much. Let's jump to healing troops, right? Like, healing troops was always the bane. Like, oh, congrats, you've got this sweet armor. You're going to really enjoy that in Ace of Galaxies and Endless, but God forbid you use it server side or in a galactic battle. Server side, you're screwed. But now there's options. The medical bays are bigger because of the Paraloper. The Paraloper got bigger.
Yep, and that makes GC or Galactic Campaign battles cheaper as well, because now it's 75. So more you can use less speed ups to heal from those battles. But of
Can you
course,
show me where it hurts?
with AIs, those armies are bigger as well. So it's a trade-off.
All right, now I want to throw this out there, just so everyone knows. When you upgrade your Paraloper to 71, I think, you get the shelter, or maybe it's already gifted. I had to upgrade my Paraloper, and I don't remember. Maybe I'd use the crystals. I bought them from the shop. But you can now, if you lose advanced troops from a massacre or an overflow, they end up in your Paraloper shelter, and you can heal them here. I mean, you don't permanently lose troops anymore, at least advanced troops. Is that correct?
Yes, as good as it does sound, they're there, but they might as well be dead because it is very, very expensive to heal them. It costs 10 times the meta crystals to heal them versus if they're in your hospital and you heal them in that regular heal tab. So it is very expensive, and it takes a long time to get the necessary meta crystals to heal a mass amount of troops. So you wouldn't want full slots getting backed up into your shelter.
For the record, anyone coming back might have a ton of minerals in their space station. What are they called? Crystals? Sands of Time?
Yeah, meta crystals.
No, I'm talking...
Sands of Time.
Yeah, yep. Sands of Time. So
space station.
How come I did my quest, and I got a new one now, but I didn't get arc movement speed? I'm level 500 and...
I think it's because you already had that quest, so now you have to do one more quest because now you have been level 500, and this next quest you get should unlock that for you.
Man, people have been sending me such awesome mail, dude. You guys are amazing. Okay, so
I was gonna say I have marching boost leveled up, but I think everyone would agree that the main lab or speed you want to level up would be the soldier heal speed, and that makes GC healing cheaper.
So go for the soldier heal speed. Every percent counts. Yeah, I'm only at 50 right now, but I got a ton of sand. I'm gonna do a little bit of marching speed and kind of let it see where it goes. Okay, so looking back at the big bosses, Airship's kind of figured out. You got your Reinhardt, who will always trade favorably, or always trade in a fight. He'll never get zeroed out. Well, maybe. I guess he could. But so you got Reinhardt is your brawler. All right, so he's going to be doing that, taking hits, dishing it out with his thorns. You got Black, who is your somewhat defensive, but really offensive airship commander. He's nowhere near as defensive as Orochi and Rogers, right? Because he's doing big hits with his defense. Stop me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Okay.
I would say Black is a lot less tanky than he used to be, with the exception if they had the piece of gear called Broken Fortress. But for the most part, Black is now built more as an offensive comm strictly, and has become a lot weaker to hits, more infantry-like, so to say.
All right, a little glassier. All right, so you've got your Black who's dishing out the damage. You've got your Reinhardt who's kind of like trading blows with you. And then you've got Rogers, who's supposed to be your superb tank, defensive, damage immune, and just wears you down with Tyrant Cometh. And then you've got...
He is not in the meta, unfortunately.
Rogers is out?
Yeah, I don't know anyone using him. He's been replaced with by Orochi for a while now.
All right, so Orochi just came into the game when I quit.
Yeah, and he's taken over.
And yeah, he had to heal, right? Corrosive armor.
Yes, he heals at the end of every round, and he pretty much heals back to full unless you are destroying a slot in a round.
Wow. 60% or something. Crazy. So Orochi, instead of just going damage immune, you get to hit him, you get to soften him up a little bit, but he's just Wolverine. He just heals back up. Okay, how are we building Orochi then? Are we building him with just pure tank gear, or do we have to build a balance with him? Because he still has to kill troops. You can't just heal through everything. You don't want to be known in MMA as the guy who can take the most punches to the face.
Orochi is not built like that. He is built to win by having the most troops at the end. So stalemating or just surviving hits, and he'll do damage back generally with guaranteed hit from Jules, and he has a thorn skill. It doesn't work like Reinhardt's, but it still does damage, and he'll also he's built tanky enough that when he gets those guaranteed hits, he's usually run with care space troops in the back, and those will deal a good amount of damage.
Wait, so Black replaced Vega when penetration gear came out. Vega's gone?
Vega's gone.
That hurts.
Yeah, DS, technically DS dethroned Vega.
That's right.
And then Dragon Slayer is now, I'd say, pretty much replaced by Black these days.
All right, so Dragon Slayer still gets play with Vega's guaranteed hit skill or Golem's guaranteed hit skill. Usually Vega's because this is cheaper, right? So
it would be so. She usually uses best offense to get that extra damage. She can't equip those skills, I don't believe.
Oh, that's right. They can't get
Black. Black can use crush, but he hits hard enough with best offense, and he does a lot of overall damage because of the new talent tree or new research tab. Power of airships is basically Dragon Slayer's skill.
Wow.
So it's a shock wave of damage when you land hits. So now the favored troop would be accuracy troops because Black doesn't have guaranteed hit.
Right. Okay. So when we talk about characters that fell out of the meta, right? Going back to like Alpha Arc of War, it was Stella, Golem, and the Walker main was Galileo. Does Galileo still get play?
No, not maybe among newer servers, because he's still given out as the first S rank on I think many servers, or given if you spend $1. I think that was how you got him.
All right,
that's how I got him.
So Galileo is no longer in the in-game meta, not even as a utility. You don't ever see Galileo.
No, there's just better utilities around. King is very much still a Walker commander that's in the meta.
Really? King is? He has that one where if he misses, he hits harder? Is that what it is?
Yep. If he misses, he hits harder. There's a dodge is very prevalent right now with plug-in with the skills or jewels that get rid of guaranteed hits or gets rid of your plug-in skills and or jewel skills. Preemptive and Keynes and a TC.
What about Blader? Did Blader, because he would ramp up damage like crazy, right? If damage ramping up was what Sister Wolf's doing, Blader does something similar, but obviously the percentages aren't the same.
Yeah, he ignored tier suppression. Reinhardt just does everything better if you're Airship. It's
all right.
Lower cost with T1 and T2.
Wow. Did they ever make Santa Takeda skin easy to get? I mean, that's really why I'm coming back to Arc of War. I just need the Santa Takeda skin this week.
I think it's about the same. It's remained. That's probably one thing that's remained constant in the game.
It's hard to get. All right. So that basically covers Airship. I want to get utility too. So Dragon Slayer, not really used at the very end of the game for holding capitals and stuff. She's mostly utility, right? For the most part.
She's still used plenty. She still does really well. Just when you don't want to use her against the peak Black builds, or you don't want to run into Keynes very much. She's still really good because she has a guaranteed hit. That's one thing that is very important to have.
Okay. So let's talk. Did I miss any airships that are worthy mentions? Darurai never panned out. We tried.
Golem, he's not anywhere.
Sad.
Prevalent right now.
What about Magician? Just trash?
He never really panned out either. There's this new airship comm that we haven't gotten yet. We have this Leona. I know a couple people trying to do things with her. She hasn't found her place quite yet. This EOA that we haven't gotten yet. There looks to be some promise, but you never know until you have them and you've actually tested them yourselves. We haven't been able to say simulate battles with commanders we don't have. That would be a cool feature to have in the future.
Yeah. All right. So Leona, we don't have. So Leona could be in testing right now. We just don't know for sure. And it seems like
I know a couple testing her, but
maybe
I
they're
haven't
not
seen
ready to share
anything promising yet.
What about Soul Reaver General?
He has his place here and there, but since the new talent tree has come out, Black just does everything a little bit better with the power of airships. Soul Reaver, he doesn't have guaranteed hit, and he doesn't hit as hard. He liked best offense very much like DS did. And if he loses best offense, a lot of his damage goes out the window. He still, with his specific special weapon, hits the back rows quite hard. But if you could run Black and have that best offense, and you have power of airships, you're going to hit everything probably a little bit harder.
Let me grab what Reggie's sending me real quick.
All right.
Oh, he's sending the meta commanders. Okay, so I watched Reggie's video on YouTube about the current meta, and I was like 2 months ago, I think he did that video, and I was like, that's probably still relevant. So why? What is this? Rocket? This can't be right. Oh, this is like the evolution of Airship. Well, there we go. He uplinked the wrong one. So yeah, I wrote Vega. I mean, I'll believe him. I've been gone. Sister Wolf. Okay, so I was gonna ask about Rock. Are people using Rock? Because the only reason we used Bullet was because he had Ghost Cannon, which Rangers didn't give points in Galactic Battle, which made you were able to kill higher tier troops. And yeah, you lost most of the time, but you were able to score points. Rock could do it too with tier 1, but the problem.
So Bullet and Rock were very good because of the anti-tier suppression. But Reinhardt is for T1s as well, as the cost is very cheap.
Yeah.
You could run him with plus 40 gear and do really decent.
Okay.
Especially against guys that aren't full marching. And if you're going to run Rock, you might as well invest in a similar amount of energy and say gear and just build Reinhardt. There's many players, large, small, plus 40 gear. I'll find myself leaving a capital before I run into a Reinhardt as an infantry player, because I know I don't have enough damage because I marched smaller, let's say, to hit his slot of tier 1 without having the thorns just kill me. Well, I was always frustrating with the T2 Reinhardts being an infantry player is when I had wings is I just suicide myself against them.
All right, so let me see. Do I have your camera up? All right, no, I don't have your camera. That's fine. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay. So let me ask you about. All right, so that kind of gives me a rundown of what we're looking at. Orochi is basically the big boss, and there's a lot of other options in between, which is great because thank God not everyone's just trying to min-max. It's not just 3 Rogers sitting in a capital anymore. Man, that's dude.
Is that working or is that on my?
That's a huge quality of life improvement for the game. That was a serious problem, man. The polarity of commanders. I know, Corn, I want to get replays. I will get replays. Remember, guys, if you're just joining us, this is the road back to Arc of War. If you quit Arc of War and you missed out on the last 2 years like I did, it's still the same game, but man, there's a lot more to it. It's turning out to not be so much. Casitan is going to be a whole nother deep dive. But first I want to get a grip on the commanders and what I'm expecting to see. Sister Wolf seems like she's going to be interesting. Orochi's going to be a problem. But let's talk before we go into Walker, let's talk infantry. You're an infantry main, right?
I am.
All right. Is Gilly still around?
She has come back around
Okay.
with preemptive being a skill that is very good to have, and it gives, and she has a guaranteed hit, so she's come back around a little bit. And Stella she still has her places here and there with people who aren't running Keynes yet. She could still be a disable build. She still has her wing skill naturally,
Yeah.
and that doesn't get taken away from her.
So
she's become more utility than a main commander that you'd run in battle, so to say.
okay. So War Machine.
The new commander,
Okay.
War Machine, has fallen off a little bit. He found his place in the meta because he beat Orochi.
Really?
But he ramps up damage slowly and he disables the healing. So he'll slowly wear down Orochi and kill him.
Now there was other commanders that disabled healing. Do they work against Orochi, or is it really just War Machine?
It was really War Machine that did it the best. He also buffed his damage a bit, and his skill was just generally better. I know I tested Stella with a couple skills. I think Fabine's skill, disabled healing. I tried that. It didn't really pan out as much. War Machine just generally did everything a little bit better. And he had that his second skill was similar to Ghost Cannon in that it did like a true damage, and it just panned out a lot better with him. You'd build him with accuracy. You'd build him kind of tanky. He was a balanced build to land hits. He has since mostly been replaced by, I would say, Puppet at this point. Puppet, let's see the exact name. I just usually call him Puppet. Mechanical Puppet.
Okay, so Puppet, we're going to talk about Puppet in a second. So you're going to tell me that Grievous, the greatest commander in the game, still doesn't fit into the meta?
No, I've tried using his energy absorption skill to find a place, but infantry, the healing doesn't work as nice if you can't tank through the hits.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably about the time you quit, or a little bit before that. I jumped onto War Machine, but before that, I was very much a Stella, tank Stella main for a while.
Tier 12 with the bombs, true damage bombs. The HP.
Yeah, it worked very well for a time.
So for those of you that don't know, Grievous is one of the few commanders that can do all troop types. Him, Kraken, and I'm sure there's one or two more. He has a skill that has an 80% chance to trigger on all types. And for all the damage he does, he gets, I don't even know, like 90% of the damage he dealt back as a heal. It worked amazingly. And just like ARP said, if you can't survive the hits, then you don't get to heal, right? But I don't think it brought troops back. Of course it brought troops back from the dead, right? Of course it did. Only on the slot that attacked. But we've always tried to find a place. When penetration gear came out and tier 11 airships came out, we just thought Grievous was finally going to be the big boss. And there were some players maining him in like season 8 or season 9. But he just couldn't stand up, man. He couldn't do enough to Rogers, right? He couldn't kill Elf enough. The damage ramp wasn't there. It was just, okay, great. Your damage turns into healing. That's good. But how are you going to do enough damage to actually kill a defense tank? Triggered fires and soldiers attack. So yeah, he has a 20% skill. 20% to increase damage, but it didn't scale very well. So, all right. So War Machine was great because he took away the healing of Elf and Orochi. Probably didn't do good against Elf anyway. And he does a true damage strike at the end, or some form of Ghost Cannon strike. But he got phased out by Mech Puppet.
Yeah, Mechanical Puppet has a special weapon that you have to have equipped on him. They gave it out for basically free. I think you just had to do a trial. It was a very acquirable weapon, and it just has attack and penetration on it. But it affects one of his skills. This is one thing that's been very popular, is they've been throwing skills onto weapons, and they'll be skills specific to commanders that makes that skill better, and there'll be skills that affect a troop type, or just changes one thing. So the formal halt, it applies to anyone, makes 10% of your damage, ignore damage reduction effects. Works very like King's skill does the similar thing. And
What's up, King Kane?
so
I see
Puppet,
you. Sorry, go ahead.
Puppet has his skill. I'll read it out. It's one thing that was nice about him. He doesn't have guaranteed hit, which isn't so nice. But both his skills are 60% trigger rates. So that's better than the normal 40.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I run him with trigger pants, so that's buffed up to 70 or so percent. And his skill by itself, you got one or the other based on if the other skill triggered is, and he's more built damage. He looked like he could be balanced, but he's definitely more glass cannon built. He would either ignore 60% of damage reducing effects,
Okay.
or he would reduce 60% of HP buffs. So similar to Sagittarius or a sniper proc, so to say.
Okay.
With his special weapon, he gets to do both on that one hit.
Oh, that's huge.
So he'll ignore both 60% damage reduction, 60% HP, and so he replaced War Machine because against Orochi, he had that potential
to actually knock a
one-shot
stack out. Wow.
If he got a Sagittarius trigger with his Puppet Blade skill, it was almost guaranteed, no matter what, to just that slot was gone.
Okay, so Mech Puppet is the infantry big boss for taking out big bosses. Is there infantry builds that you use to hold capitals? Because Mech Puppet's obvious weakness is going to be anyone that does a lot of damage. Black. I don't know about that. Yeah, probably black.
Things have become more first strike reliant, I'd say, in a sense that the best defense would be in this case for infantry would be a strong offense. So Puppet, even if you lose first strike, if he has enough dodge, and so I currently, because I have power of infantry, I have 2 strikes that I know I have, and to counter the current meta right now, I also run preemptive. So if I don't have first strike, as long as I dodge and I'm not going against someone who has a guaranteed hit, or let's say they don't trigger it, I still have my chance at battle to deal damage back or potentially win the battle, even if I should be, losing said battle. And so my dodge is maxed out as much as I can, and with Puppet having the obvious weakness of no guaranteed hit, that has changed things. So there's 2 ways to build a Puppet. There's the one that's meant to take out Orochi, which is glass cannon. You want to build that all damage. Yeah, and you're just looking for the jewel procs. And of course, Orochi is not running preemptive, so you don't have to worry about your guaranteed hit being taken away. If they're running Keynes, you still have power of infantry to help you out, and you'll get, if you survive to the second round by dodging, then you now have your Wings of Eternity. And there's the way I have them currently built, which is to counter the Airship black build, where I have built with preemptive and accuracy and dodge, because black is built the same way, where you want accuracy and dodge. You want to dodge builds, and you have Keynes and preemptive to prevent guaranteed hit skills from coming into play, so to say, from plugins or from jewels. And Puppet is built the same way to then, I actually had it a couple battles where both of us had similar accuracy and dodge to each other, that the whole first round just was null and void.
Yeah, nothing happened.
Nothing happened the first round. And then it goes to the second round. And those are some funny replays, of course.
So you can build Mech Puppet 2 different ways. One to kill the offense, one to kill the tanks. Okay, so if Mech Puppet is a dual build, it's kind of, I mean, Stella was a dual build too, but really her tank build was better than anything else when I left. What else does Infantry have? Stella penetration or Stella tank build?
Stella, not so much tank build as much as you're looking for damage, you're looking to dodge, and have your disable skills. Andromeda, dual blades, or sleep bomb. Depending on how someone marches, you can use it to counter, and it's still. I still see some people land some really good hits. Shout out to ARP of Bane. He's an EXE, and he's very involved in the infantry chats and helping people figure out their builds.
We need his brain.
He loves Stella, and he still mains Stella.
Okay. What about Iron Fist Craig? This guy, he still works down at the Blockbuster that's trying to keep its doors open.
Yes, he was released in the most recent update, I'd say about a week ago or so, that we first laid eyes on him. So not available yet. I always hold back on thinking that an infantry commander is good just by reading their skills until I've actually tested them.
Well, you remember what Thunder Ray wasn't exciting enough for you? That letdown? It took him like 6 months.
I think you remember. I caught that video of yours of LEX or Elixir.
Yep.
And I had tested her thinking she'd be really good. I absorbed Stella into her. That was a big mistake before you could transfer leadership with the item.
Mm-hmm.
And but so there was some reason I got to see your video before it went live, and you just had to scrap it at that point because it was just wrong.
Yeah,
she wasn't good.
Oh, I've done a few of those. You would think though, when they release a new commander, they want to sell it, right? Like Nike doesn't release new shoes that people aren't going to buy. You know, like you're a game, you're paying an artist, you're paying a development team to implement this code, you're writing code around new skills. Make it a commander that people are going to buy. If not going to be a boss commander, at least make it utility, but don't just throw it into the game and say like we're afraid of disappointing the players by changing the meta. It's like, dude, you have to change the meta. But then again, I mean, a lot of people got mad about Golem being replaced by Vega because he was a B commander, but they made defense too strong. Wait, sorry. What's the deal with Czar? Comet Czar.
So I did not get her, so I have not tested her personally. I have seen some promising replays. I think there's some promise. Still some kinks to work out, I'm sure. But she has some interesting skills that I think could come into play in the future.
Yeah, so she's got guaranteed hit 40% and then also gets extra crit, which considering crit with her was really a big thing when I was leaving. It was really dampening damage. You actually needed to start adding crit. Okay.
Yeah, so in this case you would be able to just not, you didn't need to worry about crit near as much, and you could say stack crit damage. So the newest troop that they released where they have their skill on the troop increases their crit damage, especially with adjacent troops. And I don't think anyone ever really, I think we've explored it a little bit, but as far as getting the crit damage high enough because crit wither counters both crit chance and crit damage.
Yeah.
It wasn't as possible to get crit damage as high. They've been adding more pieces of gear, so I think it's definitely something eventually that will come to fruition.
So Lightning Pierce triggers when the battle begins if the number of allied soldiers types is more than or equal to that of the enemies. It says not number of allied soldiers, not like how many troops or leadership do you have. It's troop types. Like if you're running tier 10, tier 11, tier, so they want her to be a multi-march, and if she has more, then she's kind of gets like a godly buff to true damage.
So that is also another requirement to the new skills, power of airship, power of infantry, power of walker. They actually require you to have one adjacent troop of a different type of another airship. So if you have airship accuracy in your slot 1, you're required to have another type of airships, let's say heal troops, in your slot 2. and that gives you the ability to trigger the power of infantry or power of airships. In the case of infantry, you can't do one slot busts. You have to have something in slot 2. It could be one ranger, it could be one healed troop, but that always gives the risk of something in slot 2 hitting your slot 2 and then destroying your slot 1 as well. So
Hoodoo, right?
there's a lot more battles.
Dragon Slayer.
Yeah, there's a lot more battles in the case that to make use of these new skills, you have to march multiple slots. And so you'll see trades where, okay, I killed their slot 1, their slot 2 killed my slot 2, and the damage then went to my slot 1 as well, in the case of power of airships. So there's a lot of troops that are being traded rather than, getting to hit and run away without being damaged. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to make use of those new research skills like power of infantry. You won't get that second hit. So you can only hit once. And can you really count on triggers with one turn?
Right. So when you're talking about, I think two things before I jump into power of infantry and power of airships, because that's something that still I haven't quite digested, and I need to get digested because that seems like a big part of the game now. But we're going to talk about Fiery Sprite real quick. You're saying that ignore Fiery Sprite. She kind of fizzled out. We'll worry about her later.
So Comet Czar, I think we were talking about before. Fiery Sprite, Black Widow, they never really panned out. They were infantry commanders they gave us.
Yeah.
But
what about
Star
Robin?
Crusher?
Disable build Robin? Did that ever work out with penetration, or just wasn't hard hitting enough?
Are you saying Raiden or?
No, Robin. He's got the chain.
Oh, Robin. There's just better skills, and as far as it never really panned out. Stella always did the disable build better.
Mm-hmm.
In that it was
Wings of Eternity.
You disable multiple slots with dual blades. It would be 2 slots if you got the trigger.
Right.
And so it just,
that's right.
His build has never quite been as good. If they added something to, they've gone back before in modified commanders. I think he would be a cool commander if they maybe buffed his skill, or we saw it with Full Metal.
Well, they did go back and buff Full Metal, I think. But did they go back and buff Robin too? I thought they buffed Robin too. And then he still sucked.
I think maybe they increased his skill chance, maybe. But I can't recall. It's been a long time.
All right, now let me get... let's get into your video and watch what you mean by power of infantry, power of airships, because I feel like I'm missing something there.
Okay. I'll take you the research tree again, real quick, just to look at the power of airships. It says when other types of airships are present, deals attack damage to all enemies if target is hit in the first row, probably saying. I don't have it actually unlocked, although I could, and I should unlock it. But power of airships, it works. Consider it similar to Shockwave. Is my feed popping up there?
Yeah.
Just fine. Okay. And then power of walkers is important as well, just because it counters Keynes. When other types of walker are present, gain debuff immunity for the first round. And it also has a revive function, but I think it is definitely more important for
total immunity.
Its immunity, yes.
Yeah, Tina's ability.
So one build that someone in my guild has been using with King is he's gone back. So with these skills, you would think, oh, wouldn't that be cool if I could put power of walkers
with steam cannon,
T11 infantry, and power of infantry on T11 infantry. It doesn't quite let you do that, unfortunately.
But that
would be very nice.
Total immunity with steam cannon on walkers was like a broken concept. In theory, that was the most powerful thing ever. I can debuff you, and I could buff myself, and you can't debuff me. Now, that's not true. Steam cannon would remove total immunity. But Tina with, or Full Metal with Tina's ability never hit hard enough, and obviously Tina with Full Metal's ability never hit hard enough in the meta. So even though Full Metal did make a run for a while, I think as a penetration build or maybe just a damage build, Full Metal really never surpassed Elf. And then Elf was kind of the big boss. And then I think it was Pictor, and there was another walker. I know I'm forgetting a walker, but did that ever come good? Did walkers ever get like let's go to walkers. Actually, let me recap infantry. So infantry basically is still Stella a little bit, but mostly everyone's running puppet. Fair enough?
Yeah, most everyone who has puppet and can run the peak build, that it isn't the cheapest build to run, isn't generally, you could call there.
What about Plasma? Is he still making runs?
Plasma, so he's good, but he has fallen off a little bit because of the Broken Fortress skill. If he comes up against Broken Fortress, it actually blocks the damage, or very much most of his damage that he'd do with his bomb skill.
Wow, that's
so
ridiculous.
Broken Fortress, it makes it so if you're second in the turn, before you go, you're 100% damaging. But that is countered by the skills like Puppet skill that ignores damage reducing effects. It's ignored by Keynes skill, and it is also ignored by the Fomalhaut. So 10% of your damage ignores the Broken Fortress.
Well, I want to show your screen. Okay. So let's talk walkers. Oh, wait, before we do it, I want to clarify. So when we go to the advanced research tab here, these, what do they call them? Not gift of, presence of, power of. Yeah, power of infantry, power of walker, talents. Power of infantry, power of walker, power of airship. The power of infantry is Stella's Wings of Eternity or something similar.
Yes.
Power of walker.
So I'll also show you how they apply. So you actually don't get to apply them to a commander, and they don't get to apply to everything. You apply them to a specific troop type. So in this case, my accuracy troops, I have applied the skills Power of Infantry and the Airship Nemesis skill. And you could have a secondary troop type that you have applied different skills. You unlock them with those crystals. But as you can see, what we haven't had released yet is there's more skills coming soon.
Click on the other troop type. What does it say to unlock it?
It requires, it says, spend the following items. Wormhole crystals.
Is that hard to get? 50 of those? Unlock
the shoulders. You pay for them. $100 gets you 1,000 of them. So $5 gets you 50.
That's not bad.
Yeah, most of the crystals go to the actual research itself, and it starts off relatively cheap to get through the first whole tree. You have to do this whole thing to then unlock the second set. And then once you get to a skill like Power of Infantries, it starts ramping up in cost. As you can see, I'm at 64% damage currently with the second strike or second turn, and then it goes to 80% at level 5, and potentially will go over 100% with level 6. Power of Airships,
wow.
I want to say level 4, something like 30% of your damage goes to all the slots.
30% of your damage.
So it's not quite as powerful as Shockwave at a lower level, but for those who, of course, spend and get those to higher levels, it potentially becomes better than DS's Shockwave skill. And one thing that is interesting is if you use that skill on the troop with DS, it applies. It doesn't add another strike. It just the Shockwave becomes the the addition of those two damages, I think, put together. So it just adds them together and displays it as one number.
All right,
so that's kind of indicative of how it is a similar skill.
So a lot of what you just said there is beautiful. When you have seen the replays and played the game, you can talk about it so seamlessly. But everyone else watching this and watching this later, like a week later, are going, "What the heck?" Because this is a dense.
I have some replays.
So
I didn't ask first to share.
I will get everyone replays of this stuff when I start being able to make 2-minute videos about it. But holy crap, dude! It seems like a lot, but it's actually not. It's just okay. You got to run two troop types, and you got to buff the troops you're going to use. Which is like you'll do it one and never do it again. You just I'm going to use it for this. This is my Stella build, whatever. Like you just do it and then it's done, and you know how it plays. It just seems like a lot stepping into it because there's the pay wall, there's the research barrier wall, there's the troop barrier wall, there's the building of the commander and what gear do I even build. It's like 5 steps. It's only 5 steps. It's not a very big staircase. We'll get there, guys. We will get there. Okay. We'll break this down.
I was very surprised when I got back from my 4 or 5 month break. I was puppet main before I left, and I came back, and puppet main was still he was still able to compete. So I came right back. Didn't spend anything initially, of course, and I was able to just hop right in, participate, and do well in GC battles. Of course, I did in cave a little bit, and I got the power of infantries and those such skills.
So Outlaw is saying, is Melt a topless for TOPL for US mid-level spenders to spend? I'm telling you, man, I'm a plant, dude. If Arc of War is sitting there in their boardroom going, okay, but we have this whole region in North America. A lot of people here, dumb people. They have lots of money. They want to give us their money. How do we get more money out of them? And the other developers are like, we gave you commanders. We gave you this. It's like, no. They're not buying it. What if we get that guy to show them how to spend their money? Maybe they'll spend. They got Reginald. They had Badger and me. They should support this channel because I hate to say this, is that by showing all this stuff, ARP, you're inspiring people that are on the verge, that are like, man, I really don't want to spend that $1,800. There's going to be people.
Well, I'm going to go against that and say, don't do it.
Don't do it. We've always said it. Don't do it.
Don't be like me.
Don't do it.
That's what many of the big players will say.
Don't do it. But, But, okay, so let's see a replay. What do you got there?
So, Foe he has many replays of his black versus other black builds that we are currently fighting against. Of course, when it comes to black versus black, it becomes, okay, who has more dodge? Is one using Broken Fortress? Does this one have enough accuracy? In this case, he's got his dialed in pretty well, so he has a lot of replays here that he was willing to share.
Every black build has to have at least Scorpio, right? They've got to have at least one guaranteed hit.
It doesn't matter as much anymore. The battle with preemptive and Keynes in play, dual skills are near irrelevant, and it becomes more about gearing for the most accuracy and the most dodge. So in a replay like this, let me see.
Gungaji's still playing. You see that, Badger?
He actually left and then came back. He sold his arc and then, I think he left his arc and then came back to it. And he's around the same size. So he's still with his Dom guys, and they have merged together with the first guild. So I was once a guildmate of his. So here is a replay of mine. This is mine where I have enough dodge. As you can see, my first slot doesn't have enough accuracy, but with accuracy troops, the more slots they have around them, the more accuracy they have. And I was able to land hits, and we do make it to the second round, but dual skills still don't come into play.
Now, aren't those Orochi's poison beacons there? Why is Puppet Master using the same?
So his first skill, it appears the same.
Yeah.
But his first skill is a damage reducing skill. It puts a puppet in front of him, so to say, and it's supposed to absorb damage. But infantry is very squishy, and it never really comes into play.
Man, that's crazy.
I, of course, won't share my losses.
Of course, of course.
That for now. Here is foes replay. That right there is what you saw was the combination of Airship Awakening and Power of Airships, I
Sorry,
believe.
I was getting blasted on my phone. What is with this new black skin? He looks so American. I love it.
So it was, you know, they were given skins according to the GC winners. So that is a GC skin applied to black.
Can you play that replay again on just slow?
Yeah, oh yeah. Of course I'll do that. So
let's see.
Let's slow it down.
Preemptive
Keynes. Preemptive Keynes. Oh wow.
Okay. Heroic charge. What the shit? Oh, I forgot.
So that comes from the AI. It won't really factor into it much. So he missed. Okay, so that's where Power of Airships didn't come into play there because he missed the original hit there. And since he didn't have another troop type or Jason, so he gets hit and takes damage there. That's the Power of Airship right there. That secondary damage that just applied.
Okay.
Worked by Shockwave. And then he gets to now the second turn here. Now we have Jules again. Power Scorpio takes damage there. And this ends the battle.
He killed 50 troops with that shot. That's pretty impressive. 10 killed 50. Show me AIs. I've seen them in my screen, but they're not, they're all just level 1.
My AI is slightly lower because of that break. But for infantry, I think one of the most popular skills would be like Celerity Star for infantry, because
I was reading through them and I was like, this one looks good.
It applied more. It was better if you had more turns. So to say, Pioneer was like a slight damage buff. I think the AI, the skills don't come into play as much as the size of or how high level your AI is, and therefore how much higher your leadership is. So that is more coming into play than the individual AIs themselves. I don't think they make enough difference in the battle to determine how it would go.
So these AIs, go ahead. Can you click on one and just kind of read it off to people, and then tell me what it takes to upgrade these things?
So each day, I don't think I upgraded them at all these days. So each day you're able to click on them, kind of like you donate to the guild. And each time you click on them, it uses, of course, because I have it equipped. I'll go to one I don't have equipped currently.
You have to unequip it to upgrade it?
Yeah, it's
annoying.
Yeah, it could be better, but
especially if you have to do it daily.
It's easy to swap them, and you do want to do it daily. And I'll click it 5 times and get up to it caps out at 4 million per click. And some of these big AIs you see is because they put billions into it, billions of resources into it, because it caps out. I'll use electricity since I don't care as much about electricity. Caps out at 4 million, and you could keep clicking at 4 million. So I got 10 right there. Let's click it again. I got 1. It'll vary on what it gives you per click. There's also these documents which you could get from events and from participating, and otherwise each day you get to just click on each of these food parts, different resources, and you get upgrade points based on what number it pops up. 1, 2, 5.
King Kane just donated $20. Thanks, man. I see you, King Kane.
And so you see that it's a leadership boost of 0.4. And I'll take this to the next level.
So there's 5.
Looks like. And so it takes, I'm at 79 out of 90. And so now I go up. Let's see if I can get to
2.
Okay, I got to 90. So now it's saying leadership boost. I'll get a 0.1 boost. And it's costing what is called core chips to upgrade to the next level. So I will do that now. And now the next one, rather than 90, it takes 100 100 points. And the other thing is I'm at level 5, but heroic charge is at level 3. And these are feature chips.
Wait. So this AI, all the AIs, as you upgrade them, you not only do you get the AI mark or whatever the buff is for the AI, you also get a leadership boost to the commander who's wearing it.
Yes.
All right. What does it say when 2 marks will be consumed immediately after receive 6 marks when the battle begins? Is that part of the skill or is that part of the AI?
It's part of the skill. It's a skill that comes off of the AI, and in this case, Pioneer. It's just slightly increasing your damage.
Okay, so it's harder hitting early on. Sister Wolves are running these?
Sister Wolves are running these, or Celerity. These two are very similar. This one is Pioneer is more a beginning of battle. You get said more damage, and then Celerity is as the battle continues, you'll do slightly more damage. You have Longevity, which is, I believe, an accuracy boost, attack and accuracy. As you level up, those percentages do get higher. As you'll see with Celerity, the cost keeps increasing as well. Now I'm at 17,030 points that's required to get to the next level. But the main barrier is once you get to level 80 or so, the amount of feature chips to upgrade the skills and the amount of core chips to actually level up to the next level become a lot more costly. And that's become the bottleneck. More so than resources, it's the core chips and the feature chips, which are given through events, spending in events, different participation. And so players are only able to acquire those at a certain rate.
So the thing about these stars, and I haven't checked Reggie's channel to see if he made a video on them, but like all that stuff you said, I mean, dude, it makes sense. I'm with you on it. The problem is there's so many elements to that screen. Like open up that screen again. Do me a favor, just open that up. Because look at that. Okay, so upgrade 9,000. 9,000 what? And then if I click that, is it instantly going to consume them? Like, what is that just forcing it to go to level 69, or is that just letting me open the window where I can add resources? And then on the left, and a rhetorical question, on the left, it says tech. The higher the tech is, the stronger the combat AI's feature skills will be. And the weaker the enemy's feature skill effects will be. So that is like strengthening yours, weakening theirs, like canceling your opponent's stuff out. But what is that? Is that applying to all of them?
So in this case, this is where I throw my hands in the air and just go, we don't know what to do about this, and I'm not going to solve this puzzle. It's supposed to be the higher tech you have, therefore the higher AIs in general. Like someone who's bigger than I am might have 8,000 tech. Supposedly, if you're going against someone with 8,000 tech, their AI skills will be more powerful than yours. They'll have a kind of suppression effect because their tech is higher. My skills will be reduced in effectiveness, and theirs will be increased in effectiveness.
Okay, but how much though? Because if that costs like $500 to go up, 1,000 levels, what am I getting for my $500? 10%? That's not fair.
I've asked the devs before early on. I never got a clear-cut answer. For the most part, I think people look at AIs, and the thing that matters more than anything else, the skills don't come much into effect as much as the leadership does. So I think most people just go, oh, wow, he has a high-level AI. Whichever one it is, it doesn't matter. It's more about the leadership than anything else. And if you do want to switch, you can at any time. You can recycle.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. 24%, 25% leadership. If you have 1 million leadership comm, it's now 1.25 million leadership. That is huge. That you're 25% bigger. I mean, that is a main thing to look at. But like the tech portion of it, do you even have to upgrade that portion of it? Like,
so the way you upgrade that is you could actually throw bots at it.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to throw away bots. They're expensive.
Exactly. No one should be doing that. The other way to increase it is by increasing your AI levels. It's not dependent on one. It's all your AIs combined add to that tech, and it
Okay.
goes up little by little each time you upgrade to the next level. Those AIs.
Okay, so you can gain tech without throwing away bots.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to throw away bots.
Beautiful.
I don't know anyone who would want to do that. The return for the amount of tech it gives you, because we don't know as much how it's quantified, I think most people just ignore that.
Okay, so then part of what that is for anyone that just has way too many bots, that's a way to recycle your bots and get at least something for them. Well, you could still turn them into upgrading weapons and melange, but
You can never have enough bots.
yeah. Okay. All right, so that's tech.
Yes.
Fuck.
Plus 50 gear is very much a goal. It has become slightly more attainable, but it is still very expensive. Free to play players aren't looking to, be getting full plus 50 sets. But it is very important in the meta in that there's the bonuses given with having a full plus 50 set that very very much help for certain builds. It gives you a little bit more dodge that you need, or the extra bonus penetration, so you could run a different piece of gear or run a different hull if you wanted to.
But I think when you say like plus 50 gear, that was like only a few people in the game had it back when I was playing. My gear, my highest piece is 41, 31, 30. Most all my stuff is around 30 at best. So I don't even think people. Are people up plus 40 gear? Is that even common yet?
So I'd say it's more common. They've been more generous with it. And so one thing you do have a lot of is your honor medals. They were automatically claiming while you were gone. And you can redeem those in the world shop for plus 40 bucks.
Wait. What are honor medals?
So you get that from an event called Peak.
Peak contest. That's right.
Yeah.
Was it Guild?
You had your March still in there, I'm sure. And so Peak contest and World Event both give honor medals, but I think a majority of people's honor medals come from Peak contest.
Okay, wait, hold on a second. Where do I find Peak contest at? I forgot about that.
It is in that tab to the right where you find individual and guild events. It'll be in the on your main screen. It'll be one of those square boxes right below the flashing gold.
Yeah, I'm caught up on it. You're just behind on the stream.
Okay.
What is details? My team. I don't see any medals.
So so that's where you set up your peak, and you'll instead go to World Event, and that's where the actual shop is.
Whoa. That's not that
and
many.
Then you could buy equipment, you could buy skins, and you could buy items. I forget. I thought I saw you had like 300,000 of them. Maybe I saw wrong.
370,000. Oh, I could buy 10 primary AIs. I see. Why don't they give you the minor AIs? How am I going to get from 30 to?
So, and to answer that question, to the right of Peak Contest, you have All-Star Contest, and that has a shop as well, and that's where they offer plus 45 bots and plus 35 bots.
Gotcha.
So those are a little harder to come by, or at least it's you accumulate honor medals much faster than you do shiny medals.
Oh, look at that! I can jump to a new planet. I do remember that was in the game. Alpha injector.
Look at that! You could get a you could almost get a plus 45 bot.
Yeah. Wow.
So they've added more ways to acquire bots to upgrade gear.
So I mean, how much are people grinding All-Star and Peak contests when they're not in Canahan,
It's kind of it's kind of a set it and forget it until they're both on 30-day cycles. I think 15 days apart from each other. So people grind for ranking right before within the last 24 hours, and your placement decides how many medals you get at the end of a 30-day period, and usually it'll be like you'll get 2,000 medals on that day, or in the case of peak contest, it's you want to do your 2 free ones each day. You get 2 free ones, and you get 200 honor medals from each one if you win your event. You're in that bracket with many other players, and it puts what you have set up against others. And All-Star works in a similar way, but it's very more. You could have more than 3 comms, and you line them up, and it's more sophisticated.
Should I sign up for this just because I'm on the screen? I don't have to like do anything.
Yeah, you could set it on a auto register, and then it just. You want to be careful with that because it'll start burning through the tickets, and usually within the last 5 days, we're at 16 days left until the end of the season. The last 5 days is generally when I turn on the auto register, and then it'll just every battle available it'll enter. So 24 in a day, and then everyone's doing the same thing within those last 3, 4, 5 days.
Got it.
To try and be as high ranked by the end of the season before it resets.
All right.
To get the highest rewards.
How do I find out how many of those tickets I have?
It would be somewhere in your inventory. I forget
Resources.
what it's called. It's strength ticket, I believe it's called.
Power up. It's got to be in other, right?
Yeah, it's in other. You have entry permits, and you have, let's see. So I have one that's challenge coupons is for the Shining Medal or the All-Star contest.
Advanced faction chest. What? Oh, sweet. Okay. It's for to get commanders. Got it. All right. So there's super value. Oh, save 30% off $100 pack. Look at that.
That's specific to certain events. Like you can't use it on any pack and choose what you want, but it's generally, I won't say it's a good deal because nothing really is, but that's just our way of rationalizing it to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. All right, so then I'm scrolling down. Oh, maybe that's it right there. Guardian medal? No. Recruitment order?
Maybe I'm forgetting what it's called.
Maybe I don't have any of them. Challenge coupon.
In the chat. Oh.
1167. Is that a lot?
There you go. Yeah, that's a lot. I have you get one. You use an auto register. You use 24 in a day.
Oh.
Or you use 22 in a day since you have 2 free ones each day.
Okay.
So, but the challenge coupon is for All-Star, and that one you do manually. You don't automatically set it. I am looking for. It's supposed to be a strength.
Corn is saying they're called certificates, and they're
strength
at the beginning.
Token. Yeah, it's called a strength token.
Strength token.
I had someone help me out there.
Wait, is it certificates or strength?
I forget what it looks like. Strength token. It's the 2 guns crossing each other.
Yeah, I got 540 of those.
Yeah.
Sign up opportunity peak contest. Okay. Wait, is this an investment?
How's it going, Captain?
Got to get those investments rolling. All right. So.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so peak contests and all-star contests are kind of weird. I mean, I'm glad they added them. It's a good way to get the high-end stuff for sure, but it feels like its own little mini game inside the game. And do you get to watch the replays? Are they like real-world replays? Are they applicable? Because I might have to pull replays from that.
So they are ways to test. All-Star is likely a little bit better since it takes into account your research. It takes into account your gear. You apply halt as well. and leadership, AIs. It takes all that into account. All-Star is better for that testing. I think people will generally not update their latest thing in All-Star because of that.
Wait,
And then P contest, it doesn't take into account research. It doesn't take into account hulls. You can use troops that aren't yours that you don't have. And All-Star contest, you can't do that. So you can only use the troops that you have, the research you have, and so on.
I got a replay here. So she has a bot, level 1 bot, not a very good one. Can I unlock an... Wait, her bot's getting stronger. The hell? She missed and her bot got stronger. Alright, so I'm gonna win that with Sui. Okay. Alright. I lost to the EXE with Rogers? Unbelievable. Oh, well, that's why.
And one thing you could look at in there is what gear they have differently and
this emulator's lagging out my computer. The stream, the emulator, all of it. I need my desktop.
Mm-hmm. I could stop streaming if
no, I'm sure you're fine. It's the CPU usage, I think, on the yeah. I just think okay. All right. So let's take a step back. What are we into this? An hour and a half. We basically covered the most of the meta except walkers, right? Did we do walkers? We did. Sister Wolf is more of your utility, but she's also like a battler, and she focuses on high tier, and she crushes.
She hits hard.
All right, so she's hard.
We have more black replays there, but they very much go the same. It's who hits who, and black does a lot of damage. So I will look through some of my.
Give me the list. So it's Sister Wolf, Elf. Elf still makes it play in the meta, right?
Elf, in GC, I'd say you'd find her more in GC versus in. Let's find a couple.
Reggie in corner asking what's the most important thing in your perspective to focus on, leadership, tech, or troops? I feel like that's a tricky question because it really depends on where you're at.
It does depend on what you're going for. For the best cost to what you, the best, if you want to keep costs down, Reinhardt would be the best, and that's in that case, leadership is the most important.
Yeah.
The gear you could have plus 40. There's a couple different gears you can go for, but it's definitely a cheaper build to go for, and you just go T1, and you have a couple box troops if you want to try and get past Sister Wolf builds with a slot of T12. But then you might lose to another Reinhardt or a T2 or a T2 Reinhardt, T1 Reinhardt. Troop research is important for definitely the top tier guys, but at that point, most everyone has all the research at least maxed out for one troop type. And me being infantry, I've stuck with that. I have airship hyperspace maxed out now, but I haven't done much with that yet. It just kind of happened.
Hey, like when you're at a public pool, like a hotel or something, and like the fat guy takes his shirt off, but then he starts walking around flexing like he doesn't want to show how fat he is. Well, that's what Moonshadow's doing with her butt right now, just constantly. She's just like flexing her butt, staring at you like, "Are you looking at me? I'm flexing." All right, sorry. All right,
I remember making a meme where I put Moonshadow's butt on. Who was it? It was Gilly. I put it on Gilly.
Oh yeah. It's a great butt. All right, what do we got for Walker though? So Elf makes a play in GC.
Cassius is a new commander, and Zodilas. Both of them kind of. Yeah, Cassius is probably the newest one. He has some interesting skills that play into the meta. Zodilas was he was popular for a little bit as well. I think he became more popular is either using him with Elf skill or having Elf use his skill. I think it was more him with Elf's skill. Cassius is the newest Walker commander that I think people are using. He has a
Guaranteed
skill
hit,
that
60%
is guaranteed to hit.
Wow. Oh, wait. And remove self buffs. So he removes the buffs off himself and he hits harder per buff removed? Does that mean he removes debuffs as well? Wait, how is he getting... Okay.
So he has skills that remove debuffs.
I see.
But his second skill, I believe, it clones self buffs.
Mm-hmm.
It clones self buffs to the adjacent army, receiving damage reduction for every buff clone. The damage reduction itself is a buff, so his two skills are working together to increase his buffs and increase his damage. One thing is I believe Elf with mind map was something that was being explored, because without, I believe it was without, or maybe it was the other way around, is without those skills working together, one of them removes buffs. And if you get rid of, or I think it was Zodilas who maybe had that skill, who had, he had something where if you had one skill without the other, that if you had it as a plugin, then it actually worked better without having the other skill buff damage, and instead it was going for damage reduction to eventually cap out and be damage immune.
Wow.
I think it took too long, and you had too many commanders that do high damage, so it didn't end up panning out as walkers would have hoped.
All right, so then for the Walker meta, is that really what we're dealing with? We've got some spec build with Zodilas, Cassius, and then you got your elves, which are kind of rare, and then your Sister Wolf, she's running the meta for them all. She's like wearing the hat.
Yeah, Sister Wolf is the damage comm. She hits hard. She has a skill that ramps up in damage, but in general, she hits hard, and she's just so useful for countering Reinhardt's and Orochi's, and in general, battling other things. If she lands hits, she hits generally hard. So, with how she's built, and Walker generally have higher accuracy.
And so Walker is kind of getting screwed again. They're polarized into basically one good commander, but it is a versatile commander, which is nice. And then you've got Infantry that's kind of locked into the old Stella build and then Mechanical Puppet, but you can't really run Mech Puppet unless you've got the special weapon to get both triggers.
Yeah, in general, you'd want to make sure he has the weapon, because then you do one or the other, and you're losing damage potential, of course.
And then airships are running
Walker,
Orochi, which is like super high risk, super expensive gear, but you're still big boss.
Walker and infantry do still have King, and that he is because he ignores total damage reducing effects. That's still very powerful. You could use him with T11 infantry, and one of the newer builds of King is using him with T10 Walker, because then you can apply the skill Power of Walkers. You can have Wings of Eternity, and now you're immune to Keynes. And so with your first, you could do one slot bust. Your T10 Walkers, they don't hit as hard, but you could load up a full slot, and a full slot T10 is cheaper than a full slot of T12. You get wings, and you can just hit over and over again, regardless that they had Keynes, and maybe thought they would be immune to it.
You're talking about using King, right? But not as an infantry main.
You could use them as Walker and infantry. It's the beauty of King.
Yeah, but if you're an infantry main and you're running King, you can't run tier 10 Walker. You can run tier 11 infantry, though.
Yeah, tier 11 infantry is very much still popular with King. But with Keynes coming around, you lose. You could have Power of Infantry, but you can no longer do the
Wings of Eternity.
Many hits with Wings of Eternity.
Yeah.
So to get Wings of Eternity back, that's where the T10 Walker build comes in. You can have Power of Walker equipped, and then they can no longer remove your plugins. You don't lose your plugin skills with the Keynes Vended TC. You then have your Wings hits over and over again, which is generally better than just one extra hit with power infantry with T11 infantry. But T11 infantry hit harder. You have a chance of dodge if you build dodge high enough. So there's trade-offs between each build there.
Trying to figure out how to turn off notifications from Discord. Getting a lot of pop-ups. But I was
getting some notifications there too.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is deafen. Is that a thing? Turn off
that would
all notifications.
Me,
there we go. Okay. So what I'm getting at, so I'm trying to trying to bring it all back to one picture here, and that's the game is went down these three directions, the triple fork in the road, infantry, walker, airship, and like it's gotten so far that like what I've done here with my commanders, with Rogers, Hancock, Dragon Slayer, I can only go so far with them, and realistically my Rogers kind of got phased out because I've got some box troops, tier 12 airship box troops that I can use on a low level Rogers march, which is useful in some regard with tier suppression. And then I've got Hancock and Dragon Slayer reminding everyone I'm an infantry main. I don't have a lot of walker and airship research. I have some because you're forced to get some, but my Hancock is basically used for tier 11 SWE, which is total utility, right? And which is used more than
still useful.
Yeah, still useful. It's still fun to play the game though. And Dragon Slayer, of course, for big bombs busting and blowing up a whole army in the back row or whatever. And then it just comes down to like Stella Gilly, and I'm just thinking like, okay, where do I want to take my account moving forward? Like, do I try to go for a puppet build, or do I stick to Gilly? Like, how far out of reach is a reasonable, like, I don't want to drop my Gilly main to pick up a puppet build and just get wrecked, like gear seems to be such a factor now, and having power of infantry is a huge factor. Having the AI bots so it's like you start building in these certain directions, and you start trying to say, well, how am I even going to use this to make it worth my while? Like, what am I getting for all my time, How do I get to enjoy the benefits of all my research and money put into it and time put into it? Is it peak contest, all-star contest? Galactic battle doesn't come around that often. I guess that's fun. Server battles never happen, right? No one is throwing big marches on Casitan or server side, right? No one does that, right? Still not throwing. Am I wrong?
Big marches still get thrown around in Casitan. More specifically during Casitan will oftentimes have either at the beginning or at the end, or sometimes both. They'll be spaced out in that you'll have a troop train event at the beginning, or a troop train event at the end, or both, and that you'll have half cost troop training, and so that reduces costs
big time. Yeah.
The other thing to Casitan is there's a Casitan research tab, in that it's called Expedition Tech, and everyone in the Casitan contributes towards these techs. It gives you points, but it also increases medical center capacity, gathering speed, resource production, commander cure speed, and most important, troop healing costs are reduced significantly with this addition of the expedition tech. And another thing on top of that is the abyss exploration, but you could look at the expedition tech there first. You have many different things to invest into. It probably won't let you see it for the advanced ones, but the gold, so it uses cash. So the first tier uses food parts and the regular resources and cash, and then the later researches that are usually purple and they are all maxed out, you can donate them with cash, shadow matter, cosmic crystals, unlimited crystals, and hyperspace crystals.
But these are temporary buffs, right? These are temporary. Once Casitan's over, these all disappear?
Yes, they all disappear, and then you start next Casitan without them, and you gotta level them up again. But if you're going to be doing battling, it's well worth it. And
so why would you battle on Casitan then? What is to battle for?
It's your replacement for PvP. You can fight, and the important thing for players is if you hold the most capitals at the end, you're rewarded with what's called ruler medals. and there's a Casitan shop that's specific to using those ruler metals, and there is pieces of gear that you can acquire through this way rather than spending large amounts of money in events. So this is a cheaper way to get it if you're in a guild that maybe is more active and more dominant in Casitan. So it reduces costs in that way. And then there's also gear that is exclusive, so far at least, exclusive to Casitan, and that you
Alright.
can't acquire them yet in another way. So if you can get enough ruler metals, you could get these gear blueprints to then have those gears before anyone else. So ruler
Okay.
metals, the expedition shop is where you'll see everything. The new Sun Raven gear. There's special aspects to that gear that I'm sure will be seen later. But yeah, you could get blueprints, you could get bots, you get these expedition coins by battling and fulfilling quests. And then you could redeem them for food and parts to help with healing, which is what most people do.
So they're gonna get first is running right or ruling right now, and they're gonna get 440.
So they're going to get 410 points is the top tier, and it gets you 10 ruler medals. And then the other way is there's the points ranking where you could your individual rank also awards you a certain amount of ruler medals. So if you're top of the leaderboard and your guild gets the best amount of rewards, 10, you could get potentially, I think it's 15 would be the max you could get. Yeah, 15 if you're the top player and your guild holds 410 points.
So
and then in that case, you get 15 medals per Casitan.
are people getting points here? Oh, for killing monsters, gathering resources, donating common tech, donating advanced
You could imagine the most lucrative way to get points is by battling other players and killing troops.
Gotcha. All right. So it's like a weekend kill event with major rewards, but it's a month long.
Yes, and we've had it previously. You'll have two big guilds that maybe decide, hey, let's not fight, and they'll just ally together. So you could actually have two servers or two guilds allied together, and they share those rewards.
So how
in
do
this
I
case first?
So wait, how do I get to kill this monster? It says only attack targets same area.
You are stuck in your area where you originally spawned, and you have these gates that if you go to the map, they're the in between each line you'll see these kind of bridge-looking things. That's a gate.
Oh, I see.
And to cross that gate into another area, you can only cross that gate if your server or a guild, either your guild or some other guild from your server, has ownership of that gate. Then they are allowed to pass through it into the next area. At this point, First Hope has taken most everything, so the only guild that has access to, say, the center of the map where there's the best tiles and the best monsters to farm, the only guild that has access would be First Hope, or First Domination, and 110. They also had access. So they likely have a player there that they could send up a member call and get other players into that center region.
Oh, so they can member call him right to that location.
Yeah, you don't have to have access through the gates anymore. You have, as long as you space players around the map, you can instantly move players. It's quite strategic. So member calls are important, pretty much only for Casitan. You don't really see them used anywhere else, really.
So our guild has made it into level 2 right here, but I would need them to call me in.
Yeah. To have access to that, you'd have to have them call you in, and your guild likely might have access to might have some players in level 3 as well.
Well, we don't.
Or area 3. Oh, Oh yeah. Fortunately not. Oh yeah, I was thinking you were one above where you were, so first remained dominant and kept you from there.
Only members of the planets that have occupied the border can control center and pass the border. So you fight for it just like anything else, just like any other garrison.
Yeah, most of the battling right now has taken place at a gate between first and EXE. So we've been fighting over a gate that goes up every I think 11 hours.
Okay. All right. So Casitan is a huge event. Probably not going to cover much on Casitan until that event comes back around, and I can start it from day one.
Yeah, that'll definitely get you caught up better. There's stages that it starts off like the first. I want to say it almost feels like the first 10 days are not nearly as much fighting because you have guilds from the same server moving into each adjacent area in front of you. I'd say when area 3 unlocks is when battling starts, or if there's two guilds from that are separated by the center of the map, there could be no fighting for the first 10 days. I think the only fighting would be over tiles, of course.
Don't worry, LoJack. I'll circle back to all the walkers once I figure out what the heck's going on here.
Yes, someone probably has more perspective on what's best for Walker right now.
I know. Where's Deranged, right? Deranged. He's the Walker.
Right.
Wow, dude. Okay, so this has been a lot. This has been a real lot. I guess the question is, God, where do you even go from here? Normally, and I imagine like most Arc War players, I draw inspirations from the bigger players that are doing the things I want to do, which is like why a lot of my commanders are, that's why I run a Dragon Slayer with a level 60 Shockwave, because I saw some broken things you could do. That's why I ran Gilly, right? Because I like nonviolent resistance, ignoring all the defense, being a built-in penetration. So I liked Sweet Hancock with tier 11, because I had tier 11. I could build that. I could do cool stuff. But moving forward, it's like, do I just keep stacking leadership? Like,
you could transfer at any time with a transfer medal or transfer chip. It costs 18,000 honor medals, but that's something that is used a lot. I've already used it a couple times this Casitan, and it is.
Wasn't there a thing?
For moving around leadership for cheap.
It was easier to like. I did the math on this. I did a video on it. It was something to do with like, you want to level your commanders up with magazines to a certain point, because then you get like a diminishing return or something, like 40% or something, and then you would absorb them. But now it's expensive to absorb commanders because you lose all the medals, which are magazines that you use to get them to S-Class in the first place. So now do you just convert everything that comes out of the warp gate into medals or magazines?
Into magazines and awakening materials. Awakening materials are probably the more important aspect to that.
And awaken materials are strictly used for awaken.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So in this case, my mechanical puppet he wants dodge. So I have awakening him for him. He's awakening 600% dodge. You can awaken 600% resistance weaken. Now, of course, you have to build it up to that, and that takes awakening materials.
Right. Now, once you get to that, does it go back to 0 when you lose it, or can you suspend it?
If you let them go to sleep, I guess is usually what we say. It drops a certain amount. So from 600, it would drop down to 480% the next time you awaken it. So you'd have to rebuild back up. But generally, if you're to let them go to sleep, it is to then stock up on medals to reawaken them later for either the next GC season, or maybe you have a lapse of time that you're gonna be gone, so you're like, oh, I don't want to leave this awakened.
Yeah, if you go to let them, I mean, if you let them go to sleep, you're gonna have to wait, just because you're gonna lose medals. You lose medals when they're awakened, but you also lose medals if they drop the awaken. So you have to wait long enough that there's a net gain. So like maybe 4 weeks or something, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, probably a little bit longer. It's usually something you might want to keep on during, say, all of Casitan and keep on during, the later half of the GC season is always how I kind of did it. And I'd build up from 480 and, mid-season. And generally that was good enough. Right now I'm at the max because it's Casitan. But I like to stock up metals and have 300 in my supply. But
So there was an event that said during the event, after the commander's awakening state's broken, the reawakening attribute value will remain 100% and will not be reduced. If commander awakening state is broken during the service suspension, you only need to click awakening once to restore its original value. Is that for people? Oh, that was during the server migration. That was a limited thing.
so that was actually they updated the game.
Yeah.
And they were in the last update, they also changed the servers that this game was hosted on. And that accidentally went that they also closed the game for 24 hours. I believe it was because one of China's I guess previous emperors was this was his a significant date, and so they closed the game for 24 hours in respect to that. It's actually some many games that are based out of China closed for 24 hours.
Okay.
And
so yeah,
and then when they restored it, everyone lost their awaken. So that was just a way to rectify that.
What's the okay, that's good. That seems like that's important news. Of course, that travels fast. It doesn't need to be a video or anything. But where did they move the servers? Why?
I've heard rumors that it moved. I think they're just changing services. I would think they went from Alibaba to Amazon cloud servers or hosting. There's some rumors in the background about I heard it from someone that I can't find anything online about it, but there's some rumor that Seven Pirates was maybe got acquired by someone else or some larger company, but that I don't have any proof of that. So for now it's just that they changed servers. Have the servers gotten better? Lag is still a thing. I haven't really seen any improvement. So that is, they very well could have kept on the same servers. And that's everything I'm saying now is just speculation.
All right. I got an idea. Let's take this. Seven Pirates games. Oh, they've made some new games since I left. That or it's someone else's. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what they've been up to, shall we? 2022, Seven Pirates, all rights reserved, business. Excuse me. Don't want to do that. I should probably email them. They moved to Hong Kong. They used to be in like Shenzhen. I could double check, but
yeah, so that might be part of it.
All right, let's see. Tower 10F Lipo Center. Bear with me, guys. We're gonna drop in on Seven Pirates. All right. Welcome, everyone. We are in Hong Kong. Let's see if we can drop right into their building. Oh man, my computer's struggling. All right, there we go. Yeah, we can drop in. Let's take a look. This is where our protest will be. No, okay, this is the same building they were at last time I was talking to them. So that's Seven Pirates HQ right there. At least that's where their mailing address is. Not that busy. Nice place. Nice place. I mean, for all the money we give them, they better have a nice place. Wow. What a shithole. Who would want to live in a big city like this? No offense to people that live in big cities, but I just don't get it, man. I just can't. There's no mountains. There's no trees. Cars everywhere. It's crazy.
Some trees and shrubbery there.
It's our native, man. It's our ornamentals.
I know what that's like.
All right. So let's recap and wrap this thing up. What do we need to do moving forward? So I made this live stream so that I could kind of get an idea of where the meta sits, and you've given me a lot of the big picture stuff. You've saved me, fuck man, probably 20 hours of bugging people by just doing this with me and everyone else here. We appreciate you doing this, and anyone else that's watching this video a week later, a month later, they're thankful too, because if you want to get into it, this is what you're looking at. We basically covered it, man. This is the new meta. These are the new gears. This is the new AI. These are the new events. The spending is all the same. Everything's still ridiculously expensive. Everything got more expensive, but items became available. Bots became available. They gave us Peak Contest, and they gave us the other one. What is it? All-Star Contest. We still have Ace of Galaxies. I imagine all the events are still kind of similar. The Monday through Friday thing, that weekly thing, still the same.
Yeah.
All right.
In general, I think most everyone looks to save their efforts for Casitan, and there's still GC each week, and that's its normal thing there. But in general, you kind of know who the top guilds are going to be there. There's not as much contest, so Casitan becomes where more people are shifting their focus to enjoy the game in Casitan.
All right, so if I want to
fighting with your real armies, there is risk involved, and it's very much there's a lot of fun in destroying your opponents there.
All right. So if I want to attack somebody and I want to heal my army after I die, I use this. This is the Paraloper I use, right? He reduces the cost.
Yeah, so there's a new Paraloper as well that is really good for Reinhardt's Orochis, in that you could do, rather than like clicking one by one with lower tier troops or doing the small batches where it's cheaper.
Right.
There's one where it's like, if you have a population over 20,000 in your hospital, the cost gets reduced to a certain amount, and it makes it so you could just heal your whole T1 army that just got destroyed by a sister wolf for very cheap. And I think most people during Casitan have that one equipped.
Okay.
Of course, for GC, you want the one that reduces the time. So those two Paralopers are nice to have. In Casitan, every day you want to redeem the Abyss energy, and that makes it in battle. Half your troops are healed by this Abyss energy, and you don't have to pay resources to heal those troops. The other half you do, but it's definitely a nice bonus to know that when you put something out there, at worst, if things go horribly wrong, you only have to heal half of them.
All right, so right now my hospital is 560,000, which is not even a full stack of my leadership. So if I get in a fight and I got to switch over to my ARC hall before my troops return, which, oh my god, that's used to horrify me. Hospital capacity 400% was the max, right? That was the Christmas sleigh.
Yeah.
All right, so I'd have
the other way to get hospital boost is the buffs. There's that 400% buff there, which I pretty much always have on constantly through Casitan.
Okay, all right. Now, I think I have a ton of those from Time and Space War. Where do I get those? I'm hunting those down.
It'd be in the More tab and then Power Up.
Inventory, Power Up, Hospital, 8 hours. I got 99 of those. Sweet. All right, so if I'm in Casitan and I lose a big army, I have to go to Christmas Sleigh. I've already done my Paraloper. I do the buff, and now I'm at 14 million. Okay. Yeah.
For the most part, you could go without the holiday sleigh and just have that buff on. And with the expedition or Casitan research being maxed out right now, as it is, it should hold a full army if you lost it all, and you only had that buff on.
Well, I'm 2.8 million, and my Gilly is 600,000. That's 37,000. 37. Sorry, not 37. 374.
Part of the reason I say that is if you keep in mind, Abyss energy you can count on it to heal half of your troops. That's half of it that won't go into your hospital, and it doesn't need to be able to fit in your hospital if it's being healed, because it gets healed before it gets there.
It does. Okay,
Can
wait,
you
hold
show
on.
me
Abyss
where
energy
it's-
heals your troops as soon as they arrive. How do you do that?
So if you look in the expedition tab and go down to Abyss exploration, it kind of shows you how that works. It reads out, says, for mine being at level 9, it says, when the troops return to the Ark, the system will automatically consume abyssal energy, healing 55% of the soldiers injured in battle.
Wait, where's that?
It'll be in the right next to the you have the news tab or the news button at the top. You have the event purple button, and then you have the orange Casitan button.
Yeah, all right.
Yep.
And then session features.
The Abyss exploration with the one on it there,
What is
the red one. Yep.
Wait, individual points. These are things I haven't done yet. Oh, these are events that I'm supposed to do during Casitan.
Yeah, there's like quests to do. There's like that expedition pass, which I mostly ignore. Road of expedition, which was it's how it separates the different stages of Casitan when it starts. It sets time limits, like, oh, you have to wait 24 hours before the next thing starts in Casitan. You'll experience that at the beginning of your next Casitan expedition.
All right. What are these things? Need a ton of those. I'll ignore that for a second. So how do I see what it unlock? Uh-oh. Do I need to unlock this? $50. It just feels criminal.
I ignore that.
All right.
It's not even a good value.
All right. So if I go to, how do I figure out how much free healing I get?
So that'll be an Abyss exploration. You likely have it at level 1, so it won't do 55%. But it's right there above the points ranking tab, and it'll.
Oh.
You can click it. I think you clicked it once already, but.
Okay.
500 gold to. You claim more energy, and then it also puts a point towards the level.
Let me think about this. Hold on a second. So I'm at level 1 of part 1, 2. Storage limit 1 million. What is storage? Is that my total?
So that's how much energy you can store. So you earn that energy each day by clicking the explore, and then you also earn it in battle. So so in reports, it'll show you how much. It'll show you how much energy you earn in a battle in capitals or gates. Rather than earning guild points in Casitan, you earn this Abyss energy instead.
All right, so this Abyss energy. All right, so it says when the troops return to the Ark, the system will automatically consume abyssal energy, healing 40% of the soldiers. Well, how much abyssal energy? All of it? How does
it consumes it based on how many troops it's healing. So one thing that is to keep in mind is T1, Reinhardt's and fighting with T1 burns through that energy. I generally save clicks for exploration for when I fight with T12, and it'll heal like 1,000 T12 infantry for 200,000 energy. It's pretty good value for how much energy you get versus how many troops it would heal.
Okay.
So it looks like you've already used some.
Yeah, so I lost a fight to Misco yesterday, and I returned back 2006 tier 2. Almost 8,000 leadership worth, which is a fair amount. I still had to heal a ton. And then we're talking about the energy it used. It doesn't say how much it used.
It tells you how much it used, but it doesn't say how much it uses for what specific troops. It doesn't really go into specifics on how much. You could kind of do the math yourself and figure it out.
Gotcha.
When you've taken some losses here and there.
That needs to be quantified. There needs to be like a base number for that, so we can have it on here, or someone just grills it into your head, because I feel like that is missing data.
There may or may not be a chart made. I think early on in Casitan, someone did some math on it. I kind of just keep in mind that on how much energy gets used when it heals however much of my own troops. I'm selfish, I guess.
Yeah, but so going back to that, like if you're a Reinhardt main and you drop 3 million leadership worth of tier 1 into your hospital,
it uses it all.
Show me where it hurts.
I mean, yeah, but then you're still got, 2 million troops or whatever in your hospital of tier 1. How are you going to heal them? That is so many resources. That's got to be like
with the expedition research, it's cheap. A full march of T2 troops, I could march a 2 million leadership Reinhardt, have the whole march wiped. It's like 45 million food and parts.
I mean, that's not insignificant.
Which that's a lot, but T1 would be maybe 8 million food and parts. I marched more T2 than T1, but it's T1 is cheap. It's very cheap to heal versus the cost that you could put onto your opponents. Killing 100 T12, that's more expensive to heal than all the troops you just lost.
So realistically, if I march this whole thing, my whole Gilly march, all right, let's say I take this whole Stella march. Not even. Let's do the Gilly march. Well, she's not here, but it's 600,000 leadership, right? And that's like all my tier 11, all my tier 12 troops. What am I looking at as a heal cost for 600,000 leadership? Give me a rough idea. Are we talking like 500 million? Are we talking like 20 billion? It's hard to put a number.
Let's see. I wish I would save a history on what I've lost. Well, one thing you can do is you can keep in mind that half of them you won't have to heal if you had the bis energy necessary, which at this point in Casitan, people haven't leveled up enough to kind of count on that. If you lose 1,000 troops, you can count on only having to heal 500 of them. So it is cheaper. And then, I mean, 1 by 1 or maybe large population, it's still expensive, but I'm sure we could make some chart or something like that would be able to show you exactly how expensive it is. The other aspect to it is the season features and weather, which can make it even cheaper. But I've been marching, a slot of 2,000 troops, or I'll put up 4,000 to fight with, and I haven't been too concerned about the cost of troops.
That's crazy to me. I don't know. I feel like that's a huge thing, right? That was like always the biggest factors, that you never fought with real troops. Even if they knocked the price down 80%, it's still like...
I think that's what it's so lucrative. What everyone likes about Casitan is how much it makes sense that they've made it cheaper, but then you still get that thrill of scoring big hits on your opponents and knowing, they got a heal bill attached to this. And but then then you have the satisfaction of you hit an enemy, you lose your whole slot, let's say, but you did some damage, you get it back, you instantly have the satisfaction of knowing that half of your troops just got healed for free. Oh, that's nice. I also earned points that I could redeem for those 10 million food and parts boxes, and that'll help heal and keep me battling.
Yeah.
So it's an improvement from what we had before.
Oh man, I feel like there's a lot of math there that's unspoken. It needs to be quantified. Like, I don't know, like you gotta do a march like that in the middle of a capital battle, and you're thinking, oh man, worst case scenario, I'm into this 100 million. Like, I can afford 100 million, and you're off by one. You're like, well, there goes $1 billion. You know, like
The other aspect as well is if you're farming tiles in Casitan, well, you have one, you could be farming them, and you can also raid the tiles as well and steal the resources that someone else has already farmed. So a level 20 food tile, let's say, has, if you farm that, it does take a longer time, but you have all these gathering boosts as well. You know, you could farm 60 million food and parts in a day, and then you also have the production buffs that increase your ARC's production. Now I want to say my ARC produces maybe 10 million food and parts, or 10 million of each resource a day. The
oh,
production has gone up a lot.
you're right. 500,000 an hour. Wow.
Yeah, and applying.
Wow.
I have. I don't have all my buffs applied, but I just had some expire. But yeah, it goes 550,000 food and parts an hour.
What's up,
nice.
Natsu? I see you, Natsu. Leave the math alone, Badger. It didn't do anything. I know. Badger still has like scars from headaches he's got doing Arc of War math. It wasn't the math's fault. It was Arc of War's fault. But
I've had my fair share of that, trying to figure it out, and then just asking a question to try and fill in the gap, and then I get told something that doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the devs have never been helpful with that, man. And even the time where they did give you concrete answers, they weren't even right.
So, the upgrading gear percentages are still not as provided. The Lucky Star thing helps, but it's definitely still not as advertised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lucky Stars are nice. It's hard to get max value out of it, right? There's a way to... Reggie's saying, get a multi-boxing, try a Walker account. Dude, I could barely manage one account. There's no way I'm going to try and run 2 accounts. There's no way. Hey, when Casitan ends, does your shield stay on? Back at home server? Of course it does, right? There's no
No,
errors.
you don't appear on your home server. You actually leave that server completely, and you're in Casitan.
No, I mean,
and that's what you...
Once it ends.
That's what you use Casitan. Oh, once it ends, yeah, you go back to your home server, and it'll throw you somewhere random like GC does.
What if I don't log in?
If you don't log in, I don't know. I think it will. I'm not completely sure if you either are just off the map, or if it'll throw you somewhere random when Casitan ends. Yeah. My assumption right now would be that it throws you somewhere random. I always log in, so. Well, I was gone. I guess if you don't jump in Casitan at all, then you don't. I've missed a Casitan and I didn't face that issue, so I have no definitive answer.
Congrats, Regal, title of the ruler. Yeah, because I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking, man, if I wanted to take a hiatus, I wouldn't have to worry about getting hit.
You could have someone just knock you off the map by stealing your however much shadow matter.
Yeah, and massacring a bunch of rangers.
That's so normal. You could apply a couple buffs and it'll all fit in a hospital.
It will now. You're right. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Man, I need 1 gold. I just need 1 gold. How do I get 1 gold? It's impossible to get Tina? Tell me Tina's hard to get? Sorry, ARP, I'm kind of just yelling shit out.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat too.
Thank you, Reggie. I appreciate I saw that. No, I appreciate that, man. I saw that in Discord earlier too. Just getting the word out there. Trying to get a grasp on even where to even take this account, you know? Like, I think it's going to come down to 7 pirates, Reggie. I got to talk to your connect to 7 pirates because they ain't replied to me yet. And I'm not going to do the chasing thing where I'm constantly trying to get a hold of them. You know, I could start building these commanders, man. I think there's a lot of room for testing on the new commanders and the existing commanders. Like the fact that Leona isn't discovered yet, there might be something there, man. And now that we can use simulated battles, we can actually start building gear sets and trying them against the best commanders in the world. As long as there's willing guild participants. But like, if Seven Pirates doesn't have a way to advertise the new gear and commanders they're making, how the hell are they going to sell it? Right? What are they literally doing? Just putting it out there and then saying, well, maybe a couple people will try it out. And then with 3 to 6 months, enough people will say, hey, it's good enough. Let's try it. How many people did you lose in the process going, I don't know, man, I don't want to risk it. You know, prove to me it's good and get 80% of the Airship mains going, all right, I'm a Regina main now after that video. You know, how many Walker mains immediately switched over to Hoodoo and Hancock when they saw what they could do? No one cared about Hancock when he first came out. I think he sat around for like 3 months. But, I don't know. I'm just yelling again. I don't know. Tina comes around once a year. She might show up in events, right? Sometimes they show up in the peak contest. No, I guess the stores stay the same.
It's been a while since I've seen Tina offered anywhere. But
oh, look at this, man. Oh, that's Golem skin. How sad. How sad. Golem used to be so good.
Dragon Slayer got another skin. There's been a couple comms that have gotten more skins. Black, I think, has 3 now. Or no, only 2. Or his original and 1. But I think Dragon Slayer has 2 skins.
Stella has 2. I remember that.
Yep, Stella has 2.
Wait a minute, I never saw that. Oh, CHN. Look at that. They got their guild tag on her butt. Wow. Someone else had multiple skins. Wait, didn't Stella have more than 2? 1 and 2.
She has original and then the 2. I still rock the original new skin. I guess the second one.
Oh, Dragon Slayer. This. Damn, CHN's got a second skin? How many skins did they get? Is it for every time they won in the last 4 seasons?
Yep. It's rewarded based off of that. And I guess the guild gets to request what commander it goes on.
Bunch of perverts choosing Dragon Slayer.
Stella and Dragon Slayer.
They selected Black last time, huh?
Yeah, he's got a cool looking skin. That was NYC that got to choose that one.
NYC has been mopping it up, man. I was looking at the history. They've been killing it. They never slowed down.
Reinhardt got a skin when DZG won as well.
Oh, I can't see it.
Although I think you might have been around for that one.
No, I didn't see any custom skins for Reinhardt. Wow. And of course, only they got it, right? Or were other people allowed to get it?
They offered it in an event like sometime afterwards, and anyone could get it. I think it was you had to use gold. Maybe I think it wasn't you had to like charge gold. I think you just had to use a certain amount of gold or some requirement like that. They didn't make it too difficult to get. You know, it's supposed to be a reward, and then if it's a reward for the guild that won, and then hey, everyone's rocking the skin that has your name on it. That's should be a perk.
Didn't Bullet get a new skin?
Yeah, him and Rock got those.
Yeah, Bullet got a skin.
New similar skins.
Yeah, Terminator skin or something. I think we all agree that if they're gonna put out a new skin, it's got to be Kakarot, right? Yeah. This poor guy's been stuck in a bubble. No, I mean there's some commanders that are totally useless. That'd be kind of hilarious.
You have yet to see who chose Mary to have a new skin.
Could do a Mary skin. Just a straight up troll. They could. The next winter, we got to do a thing. Get the community.
No, they did.
What?
You got to check it out.
All right, I'm on my way. Of course they did. That's like a obviously, man. They got to just do the troll skins, dude. That's perfect. Oh no! All right, I'm gonna release her. I'm gonna evolve her. Show me the skin, Mary. Damn it! Show me the skin. Oh Lord! MVP! MVP is my new favorite guild.
Popular demand.
Yeah, She's looking all right, though. All right. Is it time to take that and chroma key it and make some art? She has a cat in her hand?
I see that people are mentioning Mary has her own weapon, too. Which she did get one, but it's not like that panned out to make her...
Any better? Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Made her better, it just didn't make her competitive in the scheme of things.
Counterattack. How do I see her weapon? Is that...
You could go into the Forge ship and
What do
then
you want
craft.
today?
You click upgrade and then handbook,
What do you want
and
today?
then you could actually look through all the new gear there. It shows you everything.
Let me see. Mary has to have a staff, right? There. Ooh, that looks like a staff. That kind of looks like a staff.
It's called the Queen's Scepter.
Okay. I already passed it, I'm sure.
It's third row from the bottom. I'm sure you found it by now.
Nope, still lost. Doesn't look like a scepter. Oh,
No,
that's
it's,
not
yeah.
a scepter. Each cast of counterattack increases her skill proc rate by 20%. Is that skill proc rate for just counterattack, or for all triggered skills?
Just a counterattack skill.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, a lot of new commanders that they release nowadays usually come with a piece of gear that goes along with them. It's very much commonplace to see that.
I feel like there needs to be a whole video series on making Mary viable with her new skin and weapon. We could do it, man. We could do this. Someone's got to have tried it. Reggie, did you try it? You're a Walker main, right? No, he's infantry.
I'm sad I did not go through the effort to acquire the skin.
Man.
Rock that as your profile
what? You don't have it?
picture. No, I think there's some reason I just didn't get it. I don't know why. I'm not a collector like some people.
Bro.
I don't have to have every commander. I don't have to have every. There must have been some rationalization as for why I didn't decide to expend the effort to get it.
You didn't take the beautiful, voluptuous skin of Mary in honor of MVP's sacrifice to give her a skin, and instead, what? You got Sister Wolf, the furry?
No, I got my girl Stella.
Did you? You got the furry though, right?
Oh, of course I got that skin.
You disgusting.
And it's the one equipped to her as well.
All right.
So we got two furries in the game. You got the Sister Wolf and you got Dragon Slayer as well.
Wait, Dragon Slayer has a furry skin? Did I miss that?
Oh yeah, she does. She has two skins. So
Oh,
her.
I mean, she still looks like a woman though.
I mean, yeah.
But that was definitely like edging towards.
Yeah, I guess Sister Wolf would be the next step.
And Cerberus, I guess, but anyway.
Oh yeah.
All right, so what am I missing? Did I miss anything out? Chat, did I miss anything big here? I mean, like, we've kind of rolled this thing out. We've got an idea of what's coming. I guess now we're just waiting on 7 Pirates to see if they really want to do something wild, because there's no way I'm dropping 10 grand to get caught up and make videos for a company. That's going to be the next thing, is do they want a promotion on YouTube? That's really what it is. Man, I don't know.
You gotta put the ball in their court, and you'll have support from the community in general. We got near 100 viewers that we had here for a little bit. 80 currently, I think I see.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a need for it, and I'd be interested in doing it, man. I get into this kind of stuff. I think I could do it, and I think I'd actually like to do it. There's
a lot of unanswered questions. I mean, you definitely had questions that I didn't have answers to, and quantifying things, and I'm sure there's some people in the community that maybe have expended some effort to figure out things, but maybe publishing it and putting it all in one place is where there's a need for sure.
I guess we'll see what they want to do. All right, let's wrap this stream up. I keep getting these calls, and I'm afraid that when someone calls me back twice, that usually means something's wrong. So I gotta make some calls. I gotta break this thing up, and I think we covered everything I wanted to cover to start sitting down and digesting this and writing it out and seeing what it's gonna look like. But I really appreciate you doing this, man. Just drop and give me 2 hours of your time.
Of course.
It's freaking amazing. So, and thanks chat for joining in, and anyone else who's watching this in the future. This is how it started. The comeback. If there's gonna be one, Badger's like, oh God, please no comeback. Please don't do it. You telling me to eat Rogers? I'm not gonna eat Rogers. I need Rogers. He's still useful to me, and I don't have a Orochi. Do I have a Orochi? I don't know. All right. Anything else? ARP, you want to shout out anything or cover anything we missed? Or
Nothing past that. I see chat mentioning covering Broken Fortress, but you could save that for another video. We briefly mentioned it previously, and I think most people at this point kind of know what it does.
No, I think you're right. Let's give that a minute real quick. So that's the weapon that automatically triggers at the start of the round, which is broken, but it is literally called Broken Fortress.
It's a solution to not having first strike. You're immune to damage until your turn.
Yeah.
It feels. I think it's a good addition. I think it has plenty of counters, so I don't think it's too broken. But I say that as a puppet main that with the gear I have on him right now, he ignores 70% of that. That 100%.
Whoa, look at this. A lot of people have their own weapons. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Most of the new commanders they release in some capacity have their own weapon to go with them.
Total HP.
Enhances one skill.
Total HP plus 50%. Are you kidding me? That's insane. That's a huge buff, right? Plus 50% HP? Holy shit.
Yeah, that's big. But you compare it to weapons that that have 3 stats on them versus just 2.
Mm-hmm.
So the trade-off is you have 2 stats. One's maybe a little bit higher, but you also get the skill that goes along with it, which is a very powerful skill.
Mm-hmm.
Broken Fortress.
For sure. All right. Well, I never know how to end a stream, so I just want to thank everyone for coming. And make sure you're subscribed. 40% of the viewers last night were not subscribed. So do the subscribe thing. It helps.
I think that's better than most channels. I always see, the same shout outs that go out, but it's like 80% of you are not subscribed. And of course.
Yeah. No, we have a very niche community. Not a lot of people are randomly watching my videos. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Although I do have a Mia video that has 600,000 views. I don't know. I somehow hit the YouTube algorithm, and it just started pushing it onto everyone. And I was so mad because I didn't want people watching my videos that don't play the game because it's stupid. And I'd be mad if I was watching YouTube and someone just recommended me some odd game I've never played. And then there's some guy in a hat yelling about all these crazy things I had no concept of. But whatever. It happened. So all right. Then that's it. Everyone, say goodbye. That's it. Let's wrap it up. I need to figure out how to do an outro. So thanks for watching. See you next time. I have some videos coming out in the next couple of days of me tinkering around before I started the live stream yesterday. And I'll see you on Arc of War. Y6, it's nice seeing you
always
too.
End it like Moist Critical does.
What does he do? What does Critical do?
Oh, he just ends it abruptly.
Oh,
pretty much.
I love the way he talks to his community. I love how he just feels like